Okay, so today we're going deep into Delhi.
Yeah.
It's a city that just feels like history is all around you there.
Right.
We've got some great stuff to dig into, descriptions of monuments, stories from like way back when, even some local legends.
Oh, cool.
I think our goal here is to try and pull out the most interesting insights into the history of Delhi.
Yeah.
Because it really is like a city built on top of itself, layer after layer.
It really is. It embodies that idea of a palimpsest,
Right.
where history's been written over and over again.
Yeah, and you see that physically with how the city's been built.
Right. You see the layers.
So let's maybe start with the Mughals,
Okay.
because our sources really emphasize just the sheer scale of their architecture,
The grandeur.
like the Red Fort or Humayun's tomb. Those weren't just buildings, right? They were projecting power
Oh, yeah. They were statements.
and cultural, like, advancements.
Sophistication.
Is there a specific detail that kind of just drives that home?
Well, you think about the Pietra Dura inlay work in those buildings.
Yeah.
The use of precious stones.
Right.
It wasn't just decoration. It was a display of wealth,
Right.
of incredible skill and global connections.
So it was sending a message.
Exactly. A message of imperial might.
But then you go into the old city like Chandni Chowk, and
Yeah.
the whole feeling changes.
Right.
You're suddenly in these narrow lanes, like the
Wow.
bazaars are packed with people.
Bustling.
It's hard to imagine the same period produced both of those things, you know?
It's fascinating, isn't it?
This grand imperial scale and then this very intense, like, street level activity.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that beyond the well-known Mughal sites,
Right.
our sources point to older landmarks that give us glimpses into earlier periods,
Oh, interesting.
like the Qutb Minar.
Okay.
It's a UNESCO site,
Yeah.
but it's not just a tower.
Right.
It's architecture and the inscriptions on it.
Okay.
They tell us about the beginning of Islamic rule in India.
So it's like a physical connection to that historical moment.
Yeah, a turning point.
And then you have the Purana Kila,
Mm-hmm.
the old fort. What is it about the potential connection to Indraprastha?
Well, it's fascinating
Yeah.
because it suggests that people have been living in that spot,
Okay.
potentially for thousands of years.
Wow.
Whether or not it is definitely Indraprastha,
Right.
the stuff they found there,
Yeah.
it points to a very deep history there.
Okay, and then there's the House Khas complex,
Yes.
which I think originally was a water
It
reservoir,
was a practical medieval structure, yeah.
but now it's like an arts and culture center.
An arts and culture hub.
That's quite a change.
It is, isn't it?
It shows how the city can adapt
Mhm.
and find new uses for these old places.
Repurposing the past.
Yeah. Speaking of older eras, the sources mention the lost city of Tughlaqabad.
Oh, yes.
What's the story there?
Well, it represents ambition on a massive scale.
Okay.
This idea of building a new capital.
Right.
This monumental city.
Yeah.
But then it was abandoned.
Why is that?
Well, maybe because of water scarcity,
Okay.
or maybe strategic concerns,
Interesting.
but it's a reminder that even the biggest plans
Right.
can fail.
They can fall apart.
Exactly.
There's also Pharaoh's Shah Kutla Fort,
Right.
which seems to have all these legends attached to it.
Local legends.
Even ghost stories.
Yeah, whispers of the past.
What do you think those kinds of stories tell us?
I think they add another layer to the history.
Yeah.
A layer of folklore and imagination.
Right.
It shows that the past isn't just in books.
It's still alive for people.
Exactly. It's a living presence.
And that makes you think about how all this history interacts with modern Delhi.
With the city's development.
It must be a challenge to preserve the old,
It is
while the new is being built all around it.
a constant balancing act.
Yeah, the sources talk about the efforts to conserve Delhi's heritage,
Right.
and it sounds like it's not easy.
It's a complex undertaking.
So for our listener, the takeaway here is that Delhi isn't just a city.
Right.
It's like many cities all layered on top of each other.
Echoes of the past.
And all of that is still there.
In the present.
And the buildings, the stories, the feel of the place.
And that leads to a final thought.
Okay.
As you think about Delhi,
Yeah.
how do those echoes of the past,
Right.
the ambition, the innovation, even the mystery,
Yeah.
how do they resonate in the city today? And what other stories are still waiting to be discovered?
Yeah, what else is hidden in those layers?
Exactly.
That's a great question for our listeners to ponder.
It is.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Delhi,
It's been a pleasure.
and we'll see you next time.
See you then.